good morning, and welcome back to another Saturday Somm-things with Mats. Hi, I'm Mats, and today I have a very, very special guest because it is May and it is Oregon Wine Month. I have one of the most amazing people. I consider her wine royalty. Her name is Eugenia Keegan, and she has done everything. She's been a CEO. She has opened up her own winery. She has been a winemaker, is still a winemaker. She is at a distribution company, and she did all of this before she was 30. Can you believe that? And that's why we're celebrating her and these beautiful wines from the Jackson Family Estates portfolio. So, Eugenia, welcome to Denver and welcome to the table.
Mats, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today
Me
and
too.
kicking off Oregon Wine Month.
Right, right. So let's talk about wine number one.
Yeah. So this is we have all Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley today and all the 21 vintage, which is wonderful. It was a really luscious vintage. Came in sort of right on target. We had had a challenging vintage in 20, so it was really a relief to have such a beautiful vintage come in. Everything was ripe and on schedule. So the beauty is we don't have to talk about vintage particularly because they're all the 21.
Okay.
So Grand Moraine Vineyard is a vineyard that we bought in 2013 and started the brand in 2013. Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, of course, and we added sparkling wine by 2014. But Pinot Noir, of course, is the backbone of the Willamette Valley.
Right.
So, of course, we started. And we have a beautiful vineyard in Yamhill, Carlton. It's big. It's 194 planted acres, and two-thirds of that is Pinot Noir. And it's a small brand. It's a big vineyard, and we use the fruit for other wines. You'll see it later here in the La Crema. We sell some of the grapes. And so we get sort of the creme de la creme for our small project here. And this vineyard is very distinctive. It's the farthest west in the Yamhill Carlton and primarily in the Willamette
Sure.
Valley, and it sits right under a sort of a rain cloud, so in the foothills of the coastals, and so the weather kind of goes over the top, which is really lovely. So it gets a little less wind and a little less rain. And this vineyard has a very savory component to it that I find. Do you find that as well?
I really do. I
Yeah.
especially love the nose because you're getting your brambles, your black cherries, your black raspberries, but on the palate I'm getting a little sage, a little thyme, a little cassis. It's a little herbaceous, but it's still full-bodied and smooth.
Yes, your descriptors are absolutely spot on. You
Elegant.
could be writing the material for us. In fact, perhaps you should.
I should.
Yes, perhaps you should. But the
Gorgeous.
bramble, the black raspberry, it's
Right.
very deep. The soils, these are on the sedimentary soils.
Okay.
And they tend to have less water holding capacity. They have more sand in them. Water goes right through. So it tends to really exaggerate the tannins a little bit.
Sure.
So the key is smoothing them out, and I think you caught that right
Yeah,
away.
they get it.
So they're grippy. It's a real wine. You can, think about beef and things like this. We had it with lamb chops the other night.
That would be good.
It was perfect. Just the chop, sort of,
Oh,
naked.
okay.
There was just chops. They had
No
been
chimichurri sauce.
no chimichurri. They'd been marinated in a little bit of mustard and rosemary,
That sounds good.
and garlic, touche, and they worked beautifully with the Grand Moraine.
This would be such a star at any dinner table. Such an amazing, amazing wine. Which leads us to wine number two.
Let's do wine number two.
Okay.
So this is the Penarash 2021 Willamette Valley Pinot. And we started Grand Moraine from scratch when we bought the vineyard. But in 2016, we purchased the Penarash Winery, which was a full-on successful
Sure.
brand with a husband and wife and
Lynn-
two children, Lynn and Ron Penarash.
right.
And their two children did not want the winery. So we were the lucky people who had the opportunity to purchase it. Lynn stayed with us for 5 years, making the wine, training Kate Ayers, who is the winemaker now and has been with her all 5 years. So Kate would have made this wine. And the beauty of Penarash, because when Lynn and Ron started Penarash, they were a young winemaker and young school teacher. They
Sure.
didn't have any money and they had 2 kids. So they purchased all their grapes. They subsequently bought a place, built a winery, and have a small 11-acre estate. But to get started, she had to buy fruit.
Okay.
So she went around to all of her neighbors and friends. Now, mind you, this is in the late 80s, so a very different situation than today, and a lot of beautiful fruit. So we have 12 different growers that we work with in the Willamette Valley, and it is their fruit that comes in and brings the backbone and the complexity to this wine because of all of the vineyard sites.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. To me, it's unctuous and a little fruit forward, but you have that balance of soft tannins, fine tannins, silky tannins.
Yeah, unctuous and silky, spot on.
Right, and
Yeah.
I just love the black walnuts and the chocolate covered cherries. Eugenia.
You've been doing this a while.
A little bit, but it's just gorgeous. And so supple, so
The richness, the mid palate on this wine is so. We always call these wines lush and layered.
okay,
But it's like velvet right in
Right.
the middle. Yeah.
wrapped up in a silky bow.
Yeah, with a little spot of chocolate on the top.
Yes,
Yeah.
just gorgeous. I would definitely pair this with a tenderloin or a fillet with a blue cheese sauce.
Blue cheese sauce.
Yeah,
That's
that
why
would-
that gorgonzola
Sure,
cheesy soda
sure.
thing would go beautifully with this.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because this
Well,
is a star.
Where you might put mushrooms back here over with the Grand Moraine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna love the fat that's in the cheese sauce.
Sure.
Is gonna go beautifully against
The
this.
butter content, and it just, it sings, it soars out of your glass. And this has always been a crowd favorite. This has always been a staff favorite. And Miss Sheila already has these on sale because she's so good at what she does, and you are so good at what you do because you can taste your heart, your passion, and your experience, and it's really reflective in these wines. And that's so special for myself and our viewers and Argonaut to have you in our presence.
You're very kind. You
It's
know
so
this
We're
is
so lucky.
this is harvest number 50 coming
Okay.
up for me, all in the northern hemisphere. I'd like to point out. None of those double dips for me. But one of the things that it does with that level of experience is it lets you relax a
Sure.
little bit more. So when I was a young winemaker, I was very nervous. You know, I was nervous at harvest time, and now it's much more. We'll see what comes.
Right.
We'll see what comes. And after that many harvests, you've probably had experience at some point in time
Absolutely.
with whatever you're going to be challenged with this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that leads us to wine number 3.
This is the La Crema Willamette Valley, and this is really a fun wine to make because we have 8 estate vineyards in the Willamette Valley, and this is 100% Jackson Family Estate fruit, but we have all sites to choose from for La Crema. Whereas these are going to, particularly the Grand Moraine, is going to come exclusively from the Grand Moraine vineyard, the Penner-Ash, grower-based.
Sure.
But when we get to La Crema, this is all our estate fruit, and it is a smorgasbord of deliciousness
Right.
that the winemaker gets to choose from. And it's Matt Revelet. I think you know Matt.
Nice rose petals and lavender on the nose. Medium bodied. It's a little bit more austere than the first two, which is beautifully done because not everybody wants a big over the top Pinot Noir.
And in the La Crema lineup, it's the
Right.
one that's a little bit more elegant
Uh-huh.
towards the end because
It
La
has
Crema
finesse.
is such a popular brand.
Right.
And what's really fun when people said, "Why did you go to Oregon?" And I remind them that if you were up in an airplane flying up and down the West Coast, and you would look, we're down in Santa Barbara, Santa Rita with La Crema,
Sure.
all the way Monterey, all the way up the coast, and that arbitrary line, that geographic line that's between Oregon and California is just that. It's completely arbitrary.
Okay.
So if you fly, you'll see the mountain range all along the West Coast, and that's the point. These are coastal vineyards all the way from Santa Barbara, all the way up to the north of Oregon.
And it just is so representative of the winemakers, of your knowledge, your expertise, because as I said earlier, there were glass ceilings that were shattered. There were boundaries that were just surpassed and legacies established. And you, as a female and as a young female, did it all. And you have to be honored. And she was 2021 Wine Enthusiast. You're looking at the Grand Star Award, Gold Star winner.
It was quite fun.
You can't get any better than that. So, Eugenia, thank you for visiting our humble little studio in Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the table, and if you're ever in Denver again, please stop by because these wines just were fantastic, and so were you. So
Thank you,
cheers,
Mats.
and
And
thank
to
you.
Argonaut, what a beautiful day.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. Thank you.